for everybody.
Excellent. So tip number one, proactive versus a reactive with his time management. And I think Dave just touched on something that's really important too. He talked about, the importance of his kids. And what I really, can appreciate from somebody like Dave is we had a yoga date planned for last week, and he totally blew me off because he was hanging out with the kids, and that's something I really admire. And how important is it to encourage, your two boys to be physically active with you?
Yeah, I mean, I do stuff now that is, they have little foot races out in the road just to see who wins.
Yeah.
And
against Dad, or is it just between the two?
No, the two boys like doing it against each other. Or then when their friends come over, we always go out and we have little track day.
Yeah,
and,
something about that Type A triathlon mentality, right?
We go, yeah, and we go on the bikes together, and we do like a couple of kilometers around the neighborhood. And sure enough, they always seem to want to race.
I wonder where they can get that from.
Alex crashed yesterday after I was going, guys, don't race,
yeah.
slow down, don't slow down. And sure enough, came off his bike and scraped up his leg, and then he was going, Daddy, have you ever done this? How long is this going to hurt for?
Shame.
Get used to road rash if you want to be a cyclist.
Yeah. Or growing up, Dave, you were a skateboarder, right?
I was a skateboarder, and I was into skiing in the wintertime, so I always had something to do. If it was nice out, I'd skateboard, and when it got snowy, I'd go skiing. So I was always active until my MBA.
Until MBA, and when did you kind of come to that realization that it happens to all of us? We get so busy with life, and life gets in the way, and then all of a sudden, that sense of physical activity and physical wellness kind of gets allocated down further and further down the list. Tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, it happened slowly over the course of the NBA. Next thing you know, I'm 20 pounds heavier, and I can't get up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. And, and people want to go do something active, and you realize, oh my God, I'm out of shape. What happened?
Yeah.
And, it's a weird thing because I think some people, if they're out of shape from the time they're young, they're always fighting to try and get in shape.
Yeah.
You've seen some people that never managed to do it, and I think that's sad. For me, it was the opposite. I was always in shape, and then all of a sudden I'm out of shape now, and I just thought, I don't want to be like this until the day I die.
Yeah.
I want to go back to being able to do stuff, and especially with kids, I want to be able to run around and play with my kids, and go to the playground and climb up on the stuff with them, and that's when my kids were little. I'd be the only dad running through the obstacle course, whatever they call those things.
I would monkey bars.
Play monster, where I'd pretend I was a monster and I'd chase him around. And if I hadn't gotten back into shape, I wouldn't have been doing any of that stuff. I'd have been sitting there watching him like most of the other dads.
And how did you get yourself, back into shape?
I just made a decision that I was going to train for a marathon and do it. And
go big or go home.
Yeah, I never did any 10Ks or half marathons or anything like that.
Waste of time.
I just thought a marathon. Well, I just figured you can't do a marathon and be out of shape.
Right.
In fact, actually, I've seen people now that actually aren't in shape actually finish a marathon.
Yeah,
and I have more respect for them because, wow, that's like twice as much weight to drag around those 26 miles. But yeah, at the time, I thought, well, if I'm going to do a marathon, it's impossible for me to do it and not have gotten back in shape. So I thought, let's Google, find out what do you got to do to do a marathon.
Yeah.
And I got one of those basic beginner training plans off the internet, and it's like, all right, let's go at it. Let's try a 5K run, let's try a 10K run, let's try 12, let's try 15,
amazing,
let's try 20.
Amazing.
Just kept stretching out my long run until it's marathon time. And I still ended up walking a little bit at the end of my first one, so I felt like a bit of a disappointment there.
No.
I was gunning for a really fast time.
Yeah.
I could run 15K fast. In my mind, of course, if I can run 15K at that speed, of course I can run 42K at that speed.
Believe me, you're the only runner or only triathlete
who's ever thought
that too. Yeah, of course. So, tell us a little bit too about, what was your, back in 2008, you made this decision as well, this life-altering decision. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Well, I left the corporate world, I guess, forever, hopefully forever. And, you're moving from security, salary, company car.
Sure thing.
Yeah. And, I've got 2 small kids at this time, and I'm saying, right, this is horrible. I'm missing my kid's life. This was the biggest thing is, I'm trading my time with my family for that.
Yeah.
So it's security versus time for my family.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't care how much money I have. If I grow up with not knowing my kids and them not seeing me, I'll have been a failure as a parent. That was the way I looked at it. I said, you know what, I may go to Phuket and things may not work out, but at least while they're in the process of not working out, I'll be there with my kids. Amazing. And I was for the first, until my kids went into school full time. I was working from home. I was going on meetings and stuff, but I'd have a break. I'd take my kids to the playground. Yeah. I'd have another break. I'd take my kids on the beach, and I could see my kids all day long, every single day, in and out of working. And so I made this big move from being in Bangkok, and everybody says you're crazy. You can't do financial services in Phuket. There's no big corporations. There's no jobs. There's no big money there. And I proved everyone wrong and made more money than anybody else in my company over the last 5 years. Based in Phuket, traveling around the region, of course, but it's just the thing is, okay, just because you're going to live in Phuket.